Commission meeting for Monday at 4:45, September 18th. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? And if there's any corrections or comments? Otherwise, I will look for a motion to accept.
I will make a motion to accept the meeting.
Second.
All right, we'll go on to design reviews.
The first one is for Holmes Barber Shop. Applicant's name's Rodney Gene Vega Jr. It's at 212 North Minnesota. It is just a tag-on sign going on the New Ulm's own fair trade and art sign. That's just hanging on the bottom of that. It's going to be the same color as the sign above and with those type of graphics on it.
And the add-on, they're aware that it has to be 8 feet above?
Yep, we're making that 8 feet.
Okay.
What does it need to be?
Oh,
Sorry?
8 feet above the sidewalk level?
Oh, okay.
Just making sure that height, because they're
Okay,
adding on.
this 8 feet above
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay. Ignore
Now you
that.
see the picture or the grand sign in back, it's got the cabaret hung above below that. So it's going to be similar to how that looks.
It's nice to see those kind of signs. I like them. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to accept.
Motion to approve as submitted.
The second?
I'll second it.
All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Next one is Brian Ardorf, 4 North Minnesota. It's the existing storefront where, trying to think of what Remax Realty was in. There was a red canopy that was there for that business. They have since taken the fabric off the canopy frame. They've kept the frame and want to use the frame as the substructure for the corrugated tin to go on to that. And that is, he does furniture making with rough sawn lumber, live edge lumber, that kind of stuff, the thick stuff. So it's going to be a display storefront for that.
Any questions, comments?
Nobody wants to make any comments?
I was waiting for you.
All right, well, the comment I've always made, I've been sitting on this board forever, and was always, we have our rules and regs for downtown. What era are we looking for? What year? I can name you buildings that used to have brick tin on them, tar paper type brick, the facades, everything was as this guy's submitting, and yet we switched to the awning, the cloth type, the what. So what era are we looking for?
Well, we're not,
If somebody actually came in and wanted to put the old brick tin look on the front of their building in the 20s and 30s, there were numerous buildings on Main Street. That's what it was. So, personally, I don't have an issue with it. I don't, but
Yeah, I think it looks correct what they're doing, what they're doing inside to fit their.
well, they're going to be using the existing awning, so we know it'll be the right size.
The frame.
The frame,
frame.
right, yeah, the frame.
That's
so
what
we
I
got
meant.
the size and the height
Right.
wise, yeah. It's just, my understanding, it's just a matter of applying the corrugated metal to that awning is what they're looking at doing.
Well, we have signs hanging off the buildings on, like the one we just approved, and then this is something a little more unique, I would have to say, but I don't think it really hurts any of our criteria.
It's unique enough to be interesting,
Correct.
maybe as a commenter. No one seems real excited, one way or the other.
in my eyes, if somebody came in and was gonna cut a brand new standing seam type awning, we'd approve it, we'd probably approve it in a heartbeat. A nice new standing seam. Like I said, I don't have an issue with it.
Well, some people are going to like it and some people aren't. That's just a matter of taste, I guess. Well, if there's no more discussion, do we want to vote? Have somebody vote that we're going to go for it?
I make a motion that we accept this awning type for 4 North Minnesota Street.
And a second?
Second.
All right. And we'll go on to city report. What do you got
So-
for us, Elwood?
So an update on the Herman Monument. We've recently met with the architects that did the study, condition assessment study here in 2019 I think it was, about pursuing how we're gonna go forward with fixing Herman, basically. We had the SHPO people down, there was 3 down here 2 months ago, to go through the recommendations and stuff. We're leaning towards deconstructing Herman from top to bottom, getting some type of measurements and plans to reconstruct it off of that, saving any material that is reusable, say the 10 columns around holding up the dome. Those are all in good shape. Take them down, clean them up, fix them, and put them back up. So whatever we can reuse is what we're hoping to be able to do. We've got a bid back from McDonald Mack to write a statement letter to SHPO on how they're going to how we want to move forward to get their buy-in. And that's costing us, it's just shy of $10,000. And what we were thinking is we've been carrying over that money for umpteen years. I think we've got between $30,000 and $40,000 in the budget to use that $9,000 and some change to pay for that letter, which would hopefully get us the okay to move forward with going for a grant to get deconstruction documents, to be able to come in, do the deconstruction, and then figure out what we're going to use, what we're not going to use, how it was constructed in the first place, to get construction documents to build it back up again.
'Cause what was the original base made out of before it was covered up with that stuff? Or is that the base?
Nope, the soda stone. And it's, the stone is out of Vetter stone, out of Casota.
Okay,
We had a representative over when we first started this condition assessment study. The pit is still open that stone came from.
okay.
So we can get the same stone, which to me is the major portion of the monument. Our concern is, they want to do rehabilitation, but not knowing how it's constructed, what we're going to run into, our concern is we're going to be throwing good money after bad, that we get into it and go, okay, we can skim off the gunite somehow, get down to the limestone, cut off a 4-inch piece of the limestone, put something back on, but 10 feet over, it's completely gone, and now what do we do? That's our concern, because we had Midwest Engineering in last year and did some 6-inch boreholes through the foundation itself, from the sides and top and from the inside. And the material inside is just mush at some points. And it looks like when they did it, we've got the limestone on the outside, and on the inside there's red brick, there's fieldstone, there's limestone in there. It's kind of, we're working along, we ran out of this product, we'll just start using this till the end of the day. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. But there again, that condition assessment we were looking at, is the plaster inside holding up the brick that's in there that's mush, or is the mush still holding up the plaster? It's just, there's just way too many unknowns. So we're approaching SHPO to see if we can go this route with the deconstruction again, saving what we can, have some type of educational component that, you know, the columns are good, set a column off the side, let people look at it, see what it's made out of, what, you know, this is not so good. Set Herman down somewhere up there that people can up and still see Herman up close in that. But that's our hope. And their biggest thing is if we reconstruct it, what happens to the National Registry? Myself and John Nisley were in talks with the National Park Service years back. They didn't seem to have a real concern about it, the person we talked to. But somebody else could say, well, you changed it all. It's off the National Register. I don't know. To me, like I said, the biggest component is that limestone, because there is limestone up on the dome also that's been covered up. If we're getting it out of the same pit, it's still the same limestone from
Right.
there. And then we can bring back the features that are covered up by all the gunite. I mean, there's a lot of inlays and different toolings and stuff that gunite's covered up, and we haven't seen it since the 50s. But there was one comment when we met with them on this condition assessment. No prompting for me is, well, maybe the gunite's historical now. Maybe we have to stick with that, because anything over 50 years old is considered historical. So
Shippo brought that up?
Natasha brought that up. Right out of her mouth. No prompting for me at all. So this is what our goal is with this letter, is that it gets Shippo on board, and then go to the Minnesota Historical Society, see if we can get a large grant for the documents. I think we can get enough money to get the documents made. After that, to get it done in a timely manner
Where do you get the documents?
from the architects.
Okay,
They would come in.
that's all doable.
Well, it's how we're gonna go about deconstructing
Okay,
it.
okay.
You know, I mean, it's gonna be, you know, to me, it's gonna be fairly vague that we start at the top, we take Herman down, we start with the dome, whatever we can keep, we keep. We find places to store stuff if it's good. We can store it there, get it cleaned up, get it worked on. So those documents, again, it's gonna be documents to be able to go out for bids to get a company to come in and do this, which it still, to me, is gonna take probably a year or better to even do the deconstruction. But once we get it deconstructed and then get construction documents done, to get it done in a timely manner, it's probably gonna have to be a bonding bill or,
Right, say, we'd have to have all those documents in order anyway for legislation to
right,
bond it for us.
because right now, we're still guessing it's in that probably $7 to $10 million range because it was 5 to 6 just to rehabilitate it.
Well, the main concern is that the base is not real stable, isn't it? I mean, is there issues with it
Well, the
that we have
ba-
to be concerned about?
The base is stable. It's up on the dome itself is where stuff is starting to fall off. A few years ago, some brick and stuff had fallen off over the winter. We went up, set scaffolding up, sounded all the way around where there was loose brick, took that out, filled it back in with stuff. It's getting closer and closer. We have a structural engineer look at it every spring to make sure that it's still safe for people to walk up. And he's probably within a couple of years, the way he made it sound the last time, that it may be getting shut down. Because in the base itself, inside, it's been a number of years. Over one of the windows, the width of the windows, so it's probably a little over 3 feet wide by probably 1.5 feet, 2 foot deep. A big chunk of plaster just came down with a bunch of stuff. Well, there wasn't much lath or wire mesh left behind that, and there was probably a a pencil-sized piece of lath that guy from Park and Rec had in the back of his pickup for a day before I saw it. I could still squeeze water out of that piece of lath.
Wow.
I mean, it's that moist inside. So that's our fear, is we don't know if it's bulk water, if it's groundwater, if it's condensation. I think it's a combination of all of this that we're going to, have to try to figure out what we're going to do to take care of that. Because the footing, as they called it back then, they said they had a granite footing. Well, they do have a granite footing. It's 10 feet down. But it's also from the base of the footing, 10 feet up is the granite footing. It's field rock, just mortared together. What's on the inside underneath the floor? We have no idea. My guess is they had honed that all out, dug it out. Whatever field rock they had left over, they just threw it inside. Why can't they take it back out to the fields? So it's just a big crapshoot of not knowing how it was constructed, what's really going on with it.
Right.
Um,
But it's such an important part of New Ulm that we have to do something.
Right.
Right.
And again, to get it, if we, get to that point and we're getting back to reconstructing, to try to go for, even for large grants, they're $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. Well, we're not going to get much done in that year, and we have to get that done before we can apply for another grant. So you're probably going to miss a grant cycle. And if you don't get it, you're going to miss 2 grant cycles. So it could be 10,
Yep.
15 years in the process of repairing this if we don't try to get it on the bonding. And from what the former Park and Rec Director, Tom Schmidt, said, right now our 2 representatives, Thames and Torkelson, they're behind it. If they're still there when this happens, I mean, we've got some allies, so that's kind of what we're shooting for, but it's still going to be a multi-year program here, so.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I guess I'm looking for motion and second to use that. Again, I don't have the exact figure, it's 9,000 and some change for these documents to be able to send to SHPO to get their buy-in.
All right, can I have a motion to accept what Elwood said?
You want to use the $9,000?
Yeah, it's 9,000 and some change out of
Everybody
HPC.
knows that's the reason we've been stockpiling
Yep.
money. Council is aware that's what this money's for.
Mm-hmm.
It's 35,000.
We're between $30,000 and $40,000 of funds in
So the funding
HPC.
is there.
Yeah, it's there. We've been putting it away. HBC has.
Yeah, so whatever we have at the end of the year left of we've been asking for 10,000 for the budget, whatever we have after the end of the year between paying out for conferences and schools and for signs and awnings, we've just been carrying that over and putting it into this fund.
Well, I will make a motion that we have this money presented over for Herman. Less than $10,000 or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, I
Okay.
didn't grab the
Okay.
1,000 and some change.
Okay.
And I need a second.
Second.
All right. Motion carried.
All right.
All right, I actually have something to report. Jeannie and I are going to the Historical Preservation Commission workshop that's in Mankato next week. So we'll be there Wednesday afternoon until Friday. So,
Good.
so nice and close. Other than that, I have nothing else. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
Nothing.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.